Imagine that you and your friends are in Berlin, Germany. Can you hear the music? Every summer, hundreds of thousands of young people gather here for a music festival. Although most of these young people are here only to visit, many thousands of others come to find jobs and new lives. Germany faces challenges in finding room for its newcomers. Today you will be reading Section 2 of Chapter 3 in the textbook called Population Patterns. The main idea: the world's population is growing rapidly, and how and where people live are changing too. Terms to know: death rate, birth rate, famine, population density, urbanization, emigrate, and refugee. Population growth. The world's population continues to grow. The death rate, or number of people out of every 1,000 who die in a year, has gone down because of better health care and living conditions. Meanwhile, the birth rate, or the number of children born each year for every 1,000 people, is very high in some regions. This graph shows the growth of the world's population from 1750 to the present, projected to 2050. Look at the change. In 1760, it was less than 1 billion, and by 2000, it was already at 6 billion. This shows how much the population has grown just in 250 years. Population growth continued. Challenges from population growth include the rapid use of resources, a strain on the country's economy, and the lack of food or famine. Think about it. What if you invited 30 people to a party and 50 people showed up? You wouldn't have enough food to go around, and you certainly wouldn't have enough money to buy them all presents, now would you? The world's population has grown considerably over the past 200 years. By 1974, the population was 4 billion, but by 1999, the population of the world was 6 billion. So, why is the population growing? The answer is simple. The death rate is down. This means less people are dying, thanks to technology. And the birth rate is up. More people are being born, again, thanks to technology. Some people ask why some experts are optimistic despite the high population growth in the world. The answer is simple. The level of technology and creativity are increasing so that growth can be managed. Better medicine, better health care, better food, cleaner water, all of this allows for a higher population to live and thrive. Now that we know about population growth, let's talk about where people live. The world's population can only exist on a small fraction of the Earth. This is due to the fact that only 30% of the Earth is covered by land. The rest is water. Of that portion, half is uninhabitable because of ice, deserts, or high mountains. The world's population is not distributed evenly. People prefer to live in places with plentiful water, good land, and a favorable climate. There aren't too many people living at the North Pole now, are there? They like to live where it's comfortable and where they can get clean water and lots of food. Population density is the average number of people living in a square mile or square kilometer. So you might be sitting there wondering, how do you calculate population density? Population density is the average number of people living in a square mile or square kilometer. To arrive at this figure, the total population is divided by the total land area. Population movement. Throughout the world, the population shifts as people move from place to place. Many people are leaving villages and farms and moving into cities. This movement is called urbanization. Nearly half of the world's people live in cities. The boundaries of cities and their suburbs keep expanding outward, a situation called urban sprawl. Some people emigrate or leave the country in which they were born and move to another country. Some people flee to another country to escape persecution or disaster. These people are known as refugees. You might be wondering why some people emigrate or leave their home country. People emigrate for many reasons. People emigrate to find jobs in the richer nations or to flee their country because of wars, food shortages, or other problems. What are 3 problems caused by overpopulation? You should remember this from our earlier discussion about a party with too many people. Time for the answer. More food is needed, more resources are needed, and a country's economy is strained. That means they don't have a lot of money. Review question. Why do people live on only a small fraction of the Earth? This has to do with human-environment interaction, how we deal with the world around us. So think about it. Do you know the answer? Much of the Earth is covered by water, ice, deserts, and mountains, which are not suitable conditions for humans to live on. That's why people live on only a small fraction of the Earth. If you got it, good job. Okay, so what is the main reason for growing urbanization? Why are more people moving to cities? Do you remember? People are moving to cities to find jobs. That's the main reason for growing urbanization. Here's a question you might not know. What is the difference between an emigrant and an immigrant? Think about the difference. An emigrant is someone who leaves a country. In the new country where the person arrives, he or she is known as an immigrant. You might see on the test a question that says, why have populations in areas of Africa, Asia, and Latin America doubled about every 25 years? It's simple. Combine what you know about population growth. Populations in these areas have doubled because the death rate has gone down and the birth rate has gone up. Now you're going to open your book, Analyzing Maps. Look at the population density map on page 89 of your textbook. How would you describe the population density around Tokyo? Quickly and quietly open your book to page 89. The population density around Tokyo is very high, over 250 persons per square mile, or over 100 persons per square kilometer. It's a pretty cramped city.